Welcome to the Security in 5 podcast. I'm Drew, the binary blogger. This is a daily show talking about news, tips, and opinions focused on IT and cybersecurity related topics for everyone. I believe we all have some security responsibility, whether it's at your home, school, work, or personal life as we use technology. The more aware you are of the security world around you, the more secure you can be. Thank you for listening. This is Security in 5. Episode 1043 of Security in 5, and today I want to talk about patching and a very disturbing report that I have read. So there's an organization called NIT Application Security, and each month they release what they call their AppSec Stats Flash Report, and a link will be down in the show notes for it. But the report from August showed that the windows of exposure for high severity vulnerabilities actually increased in the last 30 days by 10 days. And what that means is, from their research and investigations for this particular report, showed that the time for organizations on average to fix a high severity vulnerability, meaning that the time a patch is available until the time that is applied, is 256 days, which is, in my opinion, quite ridiculous. The report found that utility companies and retail firms were performing the poorest. And their investigation also showed that applications with high windows of exposure, roughly 67% of these applications had at least one serious exploitable known vulnerability in their application throughout the year. But yet still, it's taking them 256 days, which is well over 6 months, to apply a patch that has been released. This isn't that it's taking that long to get a patch developed and released. Is that, okay, here's a Sev 1 or a Sev 10 vulnerability, here's the patch, and now companies pump it through their system, their process, their delays, their patch cycles, and what have you, averages about 6 months. That means for 6 months, a known vulnerability with an available patch, most likely exploitability is out there, POCs are out there, the code to do it is out there, and it's put into the cycles of the attackers, because they always take the latest and greatest vulnerabilities because of this window. The windows of exposure, they know, they've got roughly 6 months before the majority of the organizations take care of this issue, so their targets are extremely high. But when you have an organization, IT, security, or otherwise, and this just shows the low prioritization of security vulnerabilities. Now, there are some organizations that when a high severity vulnerability comes out, it's stop the presses, slam on the brakes, everything stops until this patch is applied, regardless of what it is, or any disruption to, or presumed disruption there is to development cycles or process or time. And that's the way they operate, which is something a little bit more that I'm aligned to, because high severity means something. But others, a patch has come out, they treat it like any other patch. They put it in there. Well, we've already got our schedule made for next month. We can't add to it. We can't change it. We have to go through a review process. And I understand there's testing and there's validation and all of that, but all of those can be done quite quickly. And there are thousands of businesses out there and thousands of applications out there that apply these patches just fine. And these patches are built and tested and run through the ringer before they're released to the public in the first place. But other companies have these type of processes, and many other reasons of why things take months and months and months and months. And then you wonder why there are ransomware outbreaks. The Equifax breach was a patch that was available, and that vulnerability existed in the environment for months and months and months, which aligns to the results of this particular investigation for patches for windows of exposure. But at the end of the day, where is the prioritization for patching vulnerabilities? What do vulnerabilities mean to you as a business? What do vulnerabilities reports mean to executive boards being delivered by the security managers and the security program leaders, the CISOs? Do they mean anything? And apparently from their investigation and for the report, and they release this report every month, it doesn't appear to be clicking, or it doesn't appear to be highly prioritized from a majority of the industries out there, particularly, in this case, utilities and retail firms. But link will be in the show notes. Go ahead and read the report, go through it, and reflect upon your own business, your own program, and say, well, this report is just another report. It really doesn't mean anything. I'm okay with 6 months of having a known high severity vulnerability ready to be exploited, available in my network, on my applications, in front of business data, sensitive data. If it gets breached, so be it. But we haven't been breached so far. We're going to keep rolling the dice and going on. Or are we going to take a more proactive step, prioritize patching, prioritize vulnerability management, prioritize being able to do an update and accept some type of presumed business disruption, stepping on people's toes, moving things out. Your bright new red new button that you said we're going to be released on Friday is now going to be released on Sunday because of a security patch, blah, 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 whatever. But in any case, there are piles of reasons behind this, but that's just shocking to me that an industry average for a high severity vulnerability with an available patch is 256 days for it to be applied across the industry. And that's quite scary, but then not surprising that breaches and ransomware happen all the time. Security in 5, be aware, be safe. Thanks for listening. This has been another episode of Security in 5. If you have any questions on today's episode or any suggestions for future content, feel free to drop me a line, reach out to me at Twitter, post a question on the Reddit channel, or go ahead and drop me an email. If you want to continue to support the show, you can head over to the Patreon site. All the links are in the show notes of every episode. And remember, be aware, be safe. Thanks for listening.